Okay, I think we're going to get underway. There are a few people that are going to be joining us later this morning. Traffic is always an issue in Pinellas County and the Tampa Bay area, but we're looking forward to a good session today and tomorrow. I'm Bob Jones. I'm with the Florida Civic Advance. I'm the Secretariat, and it is a title that we made up, and but I've been working with the Florida Civic Advance for the last 5 years, 6 years. And I want to welcome you to the summit. The title is Celebrating Civic Excellence Through Engagement, and we are going to be celebrating a lot of really interesting projects that we have instituted a Civic Excellence Award system for that was started in 2019. And this summit is going to feature many of the winners and honorable mentions that you will see throughout the conference. And it is organized around the three themes for civic engagement with local government, voter education and civic service, and intergenerational civic engagement. So we're going to be talking a lot more about these things, and you are going to be engaging in a process with World Cafe. So I'm going to briefly introduce a couple of the welcome speakers, and in particular, I want to start with, we're honored to have President Williams of St. Petersburg College to offer some welcoming remarks. She became the 7th president of the college in 2017. She's a native of St. Petersburg, and I think she has had every position at St. Petersburg from provost to senior accounting clerk. So you have worked in the college for a number of years and seen it from a lot of different perspectives. And I think you bring those understandings to the job. And you have an education and doctorate from Barry University in higher education administration, and you have served in community roles with the Pace School for Girls, for example, the St. Petersburg Free Clinic, Boys Club and Girls Club of America. So, President Williams, would you do the honor of welcoming?
Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Bob. I appreciate that. You know, community engagement for me has always been a #1 priority. Even before I became president of St. Petersburg College, I want to say two sentences about the college. Right now, we serve about 49,000 students. 27,000 are credit seeking, and the rest are students in our other short-term certificate, trade, workforce, and other AS programs. And I just want to let you know how large the organization is, and we have 11 campuses sprawled throughout the entire county, north, south, east, west, and online. And you say, well, why are you sharing that with us? Because I am a proponent of creating a community of care. And I started this the first day that I became president. And that includes 4 C's. It includes culture, making sure that we are a part of creating a healthy culture for all citizens to thrive and grow and learn. It also includes communication, being clear, providing frequent, and being inclusive, and bringing on new ideas, new thoughts, new standards. Collaboration, coming together as a community and as a team, making sure that we have all constituents' involvements, making sure that we realize that we don't have all the answers, but that we become the catalyst for change, and that we are the folks who pull people together. And then the final part is creativity. A good part of community growth and civic engagement is not doing things as they have always been done. It's also bringing on innovation, new ideas, and new things that we want to do. You say, well, what does that mean for us here in Pinellas County, throughout the state of Florida, and nationwide? SPC has 3 pillars. One is academic excellence, one is economic mobility, and the third is community engagement. And I'm going to read to you what's in our strategic plan for community engagement. We will invest in the well-being and growth of our community by serving as a leader, convener, and catalyst for positive change. We will maintain this commitment by creating strong partnerships, participating in civic learning and community engagement, and cultivating a community of care. And so here at SPC, this is something that we live, breathe, and work and play with. We know that community and civic engagement is important. I am so elated and so proud of each one of you and the contributions that you individually and your organizations make to help this world be a better place to live, learn, work, and play. I cannot wait to hear about the good things you're going to be doing in 2020. And as we come together as a collaborative, I believe that we can make a huge change in this world. Because if we don't, we all will lose. Thank you for everything you're doing. Welcome to St. Petersburg College. On behalf of our Board of Trustees, we hope that we treat you just like family. Have a great day.
So thank you, Dr. Williams. So the second welcoming remarks are from a special person and a special organization. The AARP of Florida is an organization known to probably all of you. And I'm pleased to introduce Donna Ginn, who serves as the president of the executive committee of AARP of Florida. And she participated in a summit that we convened in 2016 in Miami called the One Table Summit. And she's built a career, a business career, as a entrepreneur and a business person, and worked with Procter & Gamble, lived and worked in Caracas, Venezuela, helped to run a Latin American division, and has founded and led a consulting group that deals with international organizational development, and it serves clients around the world, really. She has served as a board director on the League of Women Voters, the Girl Scouts of Tropical Florida, YWCA of Greater Miami, the United Way of Greater Miami, the Children's Impact Council, and served as a president of the board of the Urban League of Greater Miami and of the YWCA of Greater Cincinnati. So I'm really pleased to welcome Donna and to offer some remarks on behalf of one of the sponsors for this program, and have been Jeff Johnson. As Donna comes up, I'll just mention Jeff has a national board meeting in St. Petersburg with the AARP, so that's a very unusual thing, and it's proceeded from Tuesday and is ending this morning. So Jeff will join us at lunchtime and proceed to be with us for the next couple of days, but we're really happy to have Donna provide some welcome remarks.
Good morning, everyone. And on behalf of AARP of Florida, and I assume everybody in this room is a member of AARP? You know I couldn't pass that up, right? Great, great. Well, it's really a pleasure to be with you today. And we are a proud sponsor of the Florida Civic Advance because we know that civic engagement and social connection are critical elements for people to thrive at any age. I have two older aunts, one who lives alone and is 89 years old and keeps me very busy when I go to visit her because she has lots of stuff she wants to do, but she's a thriver. As a volunteer-driven organization, AARP engages in community service, nonpartisan issue advocacy, and education on issues that affect the 50-plus crowd. And I would dare say people who are even less than 50 these days. But we rely on the structures from society that enable people power to make a difference in setting policy, as well as in mutual support. So we love what we do at AARP. We feel very, very, very confident that we are making an impact, particularly in the area of lowering drug costs, And we have a really big initiative on around the state, and we are an age-friendly state, thanks to Governor DeSantis declaring us that and agreeing to support all of the communities who will be making their entire community an age-friendly community. And that's in partnership with the World Health Organization. And there are about 8 things: transportation, community parks, and that sort of thing, that really make a community livable so people can age in place and be comfortable. So thank you again so much on behalf of AARP, and I'm looking forward to the next 2 days and learning as much as I can. Thank you.
Okay, so I'm going to say a few things about the sponsors. AARP was a sponsor, the Community Foundation of Tampa Bay, the Federal Reserve Bank of Atlanta, and we'll hear from a speaker introducing the final keynote on Friday, the Foundation for a Healthy St. Petersburg, Central Florida Foundation, and Iberia Bank, and the Gunster Law Firm. And so these are sponsors that stepped in and helped to support and invest in this effort and in the broader effort of the Civic Advance. But we also have had supporters and supporting both in terms of the Institute for Strategic Policy Solutions, where you heard from the president this morning welcoming us to their campus, Allegheny Franciscan Ministries, the Florida League of Cities, Florida State University, and then the Consensus Center that I direct and that this is embedded within. So we want to thank all of those, both sponsors and supporters, and I'm going to, there's on the scrolling when you go on breaks, you'll be able to see them, and I appreciate their support. So I want to just take a quick review of where we're going to go for the next couple of days. The overall objectives is we are going to have some speakers to provide some inspiration, but really the second objective is the key. So it's really an opportunity to listen and then to talk and listen and have a conversation regarding issues that matter and actions that can be taken in these 3 areas of practice. And as I described, voter education, the intergenerational civic engagement, and citizen engagement with local government. And we are really thankful for a few people that spent a lot of time over the past number of months. And I'm going to ask in the room if you could stand just for a moment. I hopefully won't embarrass you. So Marilyn Crotty, Terry Fine, Lila Jaber, myself, Jack Levine, Scott Payne, and Jacqueline Chouette. So, and Jacqueline probably in the back. So we had a really fantastic team working on this, and I think you're going to see the results of the creative approach that they've taken to this summit. This summit, so I'm just going to scroll forward here. So we started having the thought in about 2014 that we wanted to try and convene a summit. The 2015 summit took place in Orlando in February, and this is a image of the report from that conference. In 2016, I mentioned earlier that we did a summit in Miami, kind of on tried to bring the sectors together, the private sector, public sector, nonprofit, for a day. And then in 2017, we had another statewide conference in Orlando, and we have basically run these statewide efforts every 2 years to try and re-energize and try and refocus and then learn from the activities over the previous couple of years. And I think we'll find in today and tomorrow's discussions a lot of hope for a lot of really interesting things going on in the context of civic engagement and civic advance. The packet material that you have in this packet, I'm just going to point out some of the information so you can be aware of that. So the sponsors, supporters, you have the summit agenda that is the overview at a glance and the agenda. Some definitions if you're scratching your head about how this work is defined. There's some definitions provided there on page 7. Then the result from the Civic Excellence Awards, both the winners in each of the 3 categories and the honorable mentions, and some civic data points that the Lou Fry Center had published. It's a couple of years back, but it's really we know that the change has not happened in terms of many of the metrics that are measured at the national level. So this is really part of the impetus for the Florida Civic Advance forming, is to try and address some of the questions of how we're doing both in relation to other states and other communities, but in our own communities in terms of welcoming and engaging in civic life. And then we have some information on the Florida Civic Advance. So we have other information in the packet on the right-hand side. There's an application form. There's information on the SPC, Institute for Strategic Policy Solutions. There's an evaluation form. If you're going to be here today and leave, please fill that out. We really will both review and compile and then release the results of that. So we really want to get a sense of how we can, what worked well and how we can improve it. So more on that later on Friday. And then finally, there's a sheet, Representative Ben Diamond is going to present a brief account Friday afternoon after the keynote in the town hall on a civic literacy effort for high school students. So it's a filed bill. It's got a sponsor, a co-sponsor, a Republican co-sponsor from Miami, and in the Senate, Republican co-sponsor. So that is a little bit of a description of that bill, and we'll learn more as we go forward at that. The Civic Advance has really been a somewhat organic network. We have engaged in a conversation over a couple years prior to 2015 with a lot of organizations and determined that this network needed to begin to cohere and convene. And so we launched that at first 2015, and it was a test to see whether there was an interest. And we have continued to be surprised about the very diverse group of organizations and individuals that have participated in all three this is the 4th summit, and we have been very, very appreciative of that engagement, but also mindful of the challenges ahead. So we're going to have a lot of opportunity to speak to those challenges as well as the opportunities as we go through the World Cafe process. And Scott Payne and Francis Baldwin are going to be convening, and you will hear from in about an hour or so. I was asked to offer a couple of thoughts about the model and sort of how we came to this model for this conference. And so we've organized it using a model which Francis and Scott will provide a fuller description. It's simply a space for conversation that gets beyond the surface and tries to allow us to think more deeply about the civic topics we're exploring and see what blossoms. So the concept is we're all learners, and we can learn from the speakers, we can learn from the award-winning projects and the presentations on those. And we can learn from each other. And we are going to think about how to bridge the gaps that often divide us, either by geography or demography or force of habit. All of our experiences today and tomorrow will flow through these conversations, these cafe conversations. And we're going to, one, try and help you understand how this might be a helpful approach to take in your community as you leave here, but also that we can get to some ideas for actions on these three topical civic practice areas. And so we'll have a much more eloquent articulation of the process in a little bit from both Francis and Scott. And the final thing to say is that as a evolving organization, we've begun to look towards the future in terms of trying to sustain the effort. And we'll talk more about this in the town hall at Friday, tomorrow afternoon. But we have been focusing on creating the Civic Awards, the Civic Excellence Award program, organizing this summit this year. And we're thinking about ways to create a more sustainable effort. We've been embedded at Florida State University, but we're thinking broadly about where we should go and how we should proceed. And so your input in that, both in terms of the town hall at the very end, as well as during the day and in informal conversations, is welcome. And you'll have some information in the packet about how we've begun to think about membership levels to create a more sustainable organization going forward.